Hello and welcome to Module A, the Nurse Aide 1. We're going to be talking about a lot of things in this first module. We're going to talk about who we are as North Carolina Nurse Aide 1s, what we need to do to get initially listed as nurse aides, and how to renew our certification. We're going to describe resources that we have so that we make sure that we understand our legal range of function as nurse aides in North Carolina, the importance of delegation of tasks, the different types of tasks that we will be performing, including basic nursing skills, personal skills, and interpersonal skills. We're also going to talk about the important characteristics of a competent and safe nurse aide, as well as the difference between effective and ineffective teams, and how we can ensure that we are contributing to being on an effective team. The nurse aide in the state of North Carolina is defined as a valued unlicensed member of the healthcare team responsible for providing delegated nursing tasks within our range of function. And we do so in a variety of settings. Nurse aides work in hospitals, nursing homes, hospice care, and more. The North Carolina Board of Nursing uses the umbrella term of unlicensed assistive personnel to describe any unlicensed healthcare assistant, like a nurse aide, who's been trained to provide certain tasks of client care as directed by a licensed healthcare provider. So all that means is, we are certified as nurse aides, but we are considered unlicensed healthcare providers. We can receive our tasks, be delegated tasks from anyone who has a healthcare license, and that would be your registered nurse, your physical therapist, your doctor, etc. You may also hear nurse aides called nursing assistants or NAs. Something important to know about as nurse aides is OBRA. And we talk about OBRA throughout this course, but OBRA stands for the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act. It was a federal law that was enacted by Congress in 1987. Before OBRA, there was no set standard, set training, or evaluation for nurse aide training. So you could get someone who knew just a little bit, you could get someone who's had a lot of experience, you just didn't know what was coming. So OBRA was designed to improve the quality of life of residents in the nursing home, with the component that affects us was that they created requirements for nurse aide training and competency evaluation, and in turn created the Nurse Aide Registry, which upon the successful completion of this class and the state test, we will be listed on the Nurse Aide Registry. So the North Carolina Board of Nursing Administrative Code is who defines our range of function for nurse aides in North Carolina. And on the North Carolina Board of Nursing website, you will see a list of tasks that fall within our range of function or our scope of practice. So it's important to go and check this out. You can go to the North Carolina Board of Nursing website and look for the task list for Nurse Aide 1. It's important to know there's a difference between Nurse Aide 1 and Nurse Aide 2. After the completion of this class in the state exam, you would be Nurse Aide 1s, and you are only legally allowed to perform those tasks which fall on that list on the North Carolina Board of Nursing. The North Carolina Nurse Aide 1 Registry is a registry of all people who have met those state and federal training and testing requirements to perform Nurse Aide 1 tasks in North Carolina. The North Carolina Healthcare Personnel Education and Credentialing section is the one that maintains our Nurse Aide 1 registry in North Carolina and approves nurse aide training programs. There are certain requirements that you must meet to be able to be listed on the registry. An individual is listed on the North Carolina 1 registry, or Nurse Aide 1 registry, upon passing the National Nurse Aide Assessment Program, or NNAAP. The NNAAP consists of a written or oral exam and the successful demonstration of 5 skills. It's important to know that once you pass this training class and go on to take your state exam, you have up to 3 times to try and pass that state exam. If you do not pass after the 3 attempts, you will have to retake the training again. So when it comes time to renew our license, there are some requirements as well. First of all, listings are required to be renewed every 24 months or 2 years. And you have to work a minimum of 8 hours during that 24-hour period or 24-month period, excuse me. You have to have received payment for your work. You have to have been supervised by a registered nurse performing nursing or nursing-related services. If you do not renew your license and work within a 24-month period, you will be required to take a retraining program and retake and pass the state exam. On that listing form, and this is all done electronically online now, you are responsible for making sure that this is done prior to your expiration date. You may work in a facility that notifies staff members when their certifications or licenses are coming up for recertifying, but it is ultimately up to you. It is your responsibility. You have to complete the form, both you and a registered nurse. The registered nurse must complete his or her section, and you must complete yours. The form must be signed by both the registered nurse and you, and again, needs to be submitted before the expiration date. It's important to know that if you have any questions, if you need any help, you can go to ncnar.org for information. It's also our job as nurse aides to make sure that we promptly report any changes in our name or address to the registry. And here are those 2 websites that you want to access and familiarize yourself with. Again, the North Carolina Board of Nursing is going to have your task list, and the NCNAR is where you're going to find your registry and where you're going to renew your certification. All right, so let's move on and talk about some of the job responsibilities of the nurse aide. So we perform delegated basic nursing skills, delegated personal care skills, and use appropriate interpersonal skills in our interactions, both with our patients and residents and with our coworkers. So what is delegation? The definition of delegation is delegation or delegated is the process of assigning part of one's responsibility to another qualified person in a specific situation. Another definition is transferring responsibility for the performance of an activity or task while retaining the accountability of the outcome. So what that means is that the nurse maintains accountability and responsibility for the tasks that they delegate to us as nurse aides. The nurse uses delegation of skills and legal regulations to assign duties and tasks to others of the healthcare team. This improves efficiency and it shows trust in others. The nurse assesses the knowledge and skill of the delegate, or the nurse aide in our instance, and matches the task to the skill using the 5 rights of delegation. So what are the 5 rights of delegation? This is the right task, the right circumstance, the right person, the right direction and communication, and the right supervision and evaluation. Before accepting a delegated task, the nurse aide also has to ask themselves some questions. Do I have all the information I need to do the task, and do I have questions? Do I believe I can do the task and have the necessary skill to do it? Do I have the equipment and supplies I need? Do I know who my supervisor is and how I can find him or her if I have questions? And have I told my supervisor if I need help to do this task? So this is really important. So as a nurse, I build a trusting relationship with the nurse aides that I work with and vice versa. I trust that the nurse aides that I'm delegating my tasks to are going to do that task in a safe, respectful manner. If I delegate a task and my nurse aide does not believe that he or she has the ability or knowledge or skills to do it, I fully expect them to let me know, because ultimately Safety of our patients is the most important thing. And if something were to happen, that delegated task is going to come back to me and I'm responsible for it. So there's a mutual respect there. There's a mutual trust that has to go between a nurse and a nurse aide so that we know our patients are safe and both our license and certifications are protected. So again, the nurse maintains accountability and responsibility for the delivery of safe and competent care. Decisions regarding delegation of any nurse aide activity are made on a resident by resident basis by the nurse. So to go in that a little further, what that means is if I have 2 patients and I ask you to feed one of them, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can feed the other one because that other one may have a really complicated health condition. They may have a lot of swallowing difficulties, have problems with aspiration. So again, anytime a task is delegated to a nurse aide, it's a resident by resident and case by case basis. Never ever be afraid to ask questions or ask for help. Always ask if you do not understand a task, if you need more information, or if you're not sure how to do something. Again, if you don't think you have the skills to do it, talk to your supervisor. So let's break down a little bit what these basic nursing skills are that we will do as nurse aides. These are essential skills required for a nurse aide to deliver competent care to the resident in a healthcare setting. For example, this could be monitoring, documenting, and reporting of vital signs, managing of pain, application of hot and cold packs, dressing changes, and key is always going to be privacy. We always want to make sure that we're providing privacy for our patients. This offers them respect and dignity. Performance of these basic nursing skills is a really important duty of nurse aide. We follow the resident's plan of care, any directives from our supervisor, and we report important findings to keep the well-being of our residents. Now, there's also personal care skills. These are tasks that specifically deal with a person's body, appearance, and hygiene. Privacy is also key with this. We do personal skills on a daily basis, in the morning, in the night, and in really any time in between as needed. Each individual has their own preferences, such as time of bath, certain soaps, hairstyles, etc. And anytime we have the ability to honor those wishes, those personal preferences, we need to be doing that. So personal care skills like hygiene and grooming. Hygiene is any task that we do to keep the body clean and healthy, like bathing or brushing teeth. Grooming, those are tasks that are more done to maintain a person's appearance and foster dignity and choice. So that might be, fingernail care, painting fingernails, doing a hair in a certain way. So AM care is always going to include, toileting, assisting with face and hand washing, mouth care. PM care is also going to include toileting, face and hand washing, a snack sometimes, mouth care, sometimes a back rub to help our residents relax. And personal care skills are also where you're going to hear the concept of ADLs. You're going to hear this again and again. ADLs are activities of daily living. It's a common term. This is hygiene and grooming plus dressing, eating, transferring, and toileting. All of those tasks together are our activities of daily living. Assisting with ADLs of assigned residents is an important duty of the nurse aide. When providing personal care, it's important to help the resident to be as independent as possible. Encourage the residents to do as much of their care as they can for themselves. It's important too to remember that residents can sometimes feel embarrassed if they have to be helped with personal care needs, such as toileting, for example, or getting changed. So that's why privacy is such an important factor in this. While assisting with personal care needs, we have a huge role. The nurse aide can observe the resident's skin, their mobility, their comfort, their cognition. These are all things that as nurse aides we have the opportunity so many times throughout the day to notice the most subtle of changes and report to the nurse. It's important, like I said in the beginning here, to encourage residents to be as independent and do self-care as much as possible. You'll see that, if a resident starts asking for help and we just do it, even though they're capable, they might be slower, it might be a little more challenging, they might need to do things to adapt. But if we just start doing everything for our residents, they become dependent and their health, both physically and mentally, will decline rapidly. So even though something might take a little longer, or we need to get an adaptive device to help them do things independently, it is worth the extra time and effort to keep them independent. Interpersonal skills. These are the essential skills used by a person when working with others. This is determined by our standards and values, our culture and environment, our heredity, our interests, feelings, our expectations, and our past experiences. So as you can see, everyone is going to have a little bit different, background coming into this. In the healthcare setting, when we're talking about interpersonal skills, this generally refers to a healthcare provider's ability to get along with others while getting the job done. And this is important. Nurse aides interact with a variety of people while on duty, and it's important to understand how our own actions and attitudes can impact those around us, and that's including our residents, their family members, and our coworkers. Nurse aides are a valued member of the healthcare team and spend the majority of their workday with residents. In fact, in the nursing home setting, 80 to 90% of hands-on care in the nursing home is done by nurse aides. So our role, when caring for a resident, we should empathize. And there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is when you feel sorry for somebody. Empathy is when you try and put yourself in their shoes and feel how they would feel. We want to try and anticipate the needs of our residents. And this develops over time with good relationships. We want to treat residents as unique individuals and honor their requests whenever possible. We want to display patience and tolerance while attempting to understand our residents' behavior and be sensitive to residents' moods and mindful of our own reactions to those moods. You'll hear me say this again and again throughout the course, but it's important to understand and remember that there's always a reason behind a behavior. For example, if a resident is behaving in an agitated and aggressive manner, it might be because they're in pain that hasn't been addressed. So always look for the reason behind their behaviors. We want to be respectful to family and understand any concerns that they may have. Maintain an open, positive, and professional relationship with the members of the healthcare team. And we want to work to effectively communicate and work well with others. So as an employee, we need to act, behave, and function as in a professional manner at all times. We want to have an excellent work ethic because the jobs that we're doing as nurse aides are critically important. Work ethic is basically our behavior in the workplace. It includes includes our appearance, our communication skills, how we treat others, our attitude, and how we work as a team. It's important to remember too that professionalism includes a lot of things as well. We can demonstrate professionalism in how we speak, our appearance, how we behave, how we communicate about others. So professionalism is very important, especially considering the work that we do. So appearance. We want to make sure that we're always following the dress code of the facility. We want to dress neatly, clean uniform, and make sure that our badges are visible at all times. We want to wear clean, non-skid, closed-toed, and comfortable shoes. That's going to be really important because we're up on our feet all day. Depending on the facility you're at, and you want to follow their policy, but potentially needing to cover tattoos. Maintain neatly trimmed, short, natural, and clean nails without polish. So this is important because this is an infection prevention and safety issue. If we have long nails, if you're thinking about working in the nursing home with elderly patients, their skin becomes extremely fragile. We don't want to cut or scratch or hurt somebody, but also long nails and nail polish, and also just fingers and nails and hands that are not well taken care of, like dry and have cracks. Those are the great spots for bacteria to grow. So that's the reason behind that. We want to make sure that hair is pulled back away from our face so that it's not falling in onto our patients, potentially into wounds or dressing changes. Maintain excellent personal hygiene. Let's see. Depending again on the facility, they may have regulations about piercings and where those piercings can be on the face or not. You don't want to wear dangly earrings or necklaces because those are a safety hazard for you. They can be pulled out. And it's important to remember that it only takes 15 seconds to make a first impression. And why is this important? Well, whether it be meeting a resident for the first time or up for a job interview, when we feel good about ourselves, it does increase our self-confidence, which increases the likelihood that a resident will have confidence in you as a healthcare provider. So if you're meeting a new resident and a new family for the first time in the nursing home, you want their impression of you to be good because they know that you're going to be caring for their loved one. So it's really important. Attitude, of course, is also important as well. As nurse aides, we need to have patience and understanding, be honest and trustworthy, always try to do our best, be courteous, considerate, and respectful. We also need to be dependable, responsible, and accountable, which means if we make a mistake, we need to own up to it and let somebody know. We need to be tolerant of others and keep our opinions to ourselves, be self-aware, and care for people equally, no matter race, age, sex, religion, or sexual orientation. If you ever think that you can't care for people equally because of one of those reasons, then healthcare is really not the place for you. We need to make sure that we care about others and what they are going through. And as cheesy as it may sound, we'd always want to be striving to be the best nurse aide possible because the residents and the patients are depending on you. As a nurse aide, we need to understand the requirements of being a nurse aide in North Carolina and maintaining our current listing on the Nurse Aide 1 registry, which we've already talked about. We need to know what nurse aides are legally allowed to do. That's that task list. We need to have concerns for others and help make their lives happier and easier. And that might be residents, their family members, or our coworkers. We need to maintain a professional appearance, grooming, and hygiene at work. We need to make sure that we report for work on time and when scheduled. And if our shift starts at 7, that means we're ready to go and be taking care of people at 7. It doesn't mean we're showing up at 7. We need to use sick time for just that, perform an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, be respectful to our coworkers, our boss, and our supervisor. Don't join in when others are criticizing other coworkers or management, and perform the tasks that are delegated to you. We want to be gentle and kind to our residents, families, and coworkers. Be able to put ourselves in. Sorry, I got to pause for 1 second, you guys. So sorry about that. Okay, so we want to be able to put ourselves in another person's shoes, which is empathy. Be pleasant, don't be bad-tempered, respect others and their possessions. Remember, working in the nursing home, this is their home. So if the things in their room are special to them, they mean a lot, and it's their personal belongings. And it's really important to never be afraid to ask questions or ask for help. We want to treat residents with respect and dignity, be a team player, and help others when you are asked or when you have downtime. You're going to find that as nurse aides, you always have something to do. But if you do find yourself with a little downtime, don't wait to be asked for help. Just jump right in and help your teammates. Be careful and alert to surroundings at work and to resident cues, and you'll get more in tune with that as you work longer as a nurse aide and as you work longer with your particular residents. And it's really important not to gossip. Don't lie or cheat or steal, even if it's just a notepad or pen. Seek the good of others. Remain loyal to your facility and employer. Take the opportunity to praise others when the chance arises, and do not use profanity or tell off-color jokes while at work. If you are not sure that what you are about to do is right, don't do it. That's your conscience talking, so listen to it. All right, now let's talk a little bit about effective and ineffective teams, and that's going to conclude Module A. So a team is a group of people with a common purpose, assigned tasks, and coordinated effort to get a job done. Team members work together and function as interrelated parts of a whole. Team members communicate with each other. They coordinate work activities and share responsibilities. They receive assignments to ensure that each team member knows what to do, what is expected of them, and how to plan work schedules. For example, as nurse aides, we are members of the healthcare team. In an effective team, the climate is informal, comfortable, and relaxed. So members are interested and involved. Communication is open and two-way. Ideas and feelings are encouraged. Everyone on the team is inclusive and trusting. People like each other and they like working with each other. The goals and tasks of an effective team are appropriate, understood, and modified as needed to get the work done. Leaders lead and members participate in a respectful and cooperative manner. And then everyone pulls together. There's a high level of inclusion, trust, liking, and support. When you're on an effective team, problem solving is high. When a problem arises, people consult with the appropriate resources and work to resolve the problem. So let's all be part of an effective team. Qualities of an ineffective team. The climate is tense. Communication is closed and one way. Ideas and feelings are discouraged. Members are hesitant to speak up. And the interactions are based more on authority. So people with the more power are more dominant. They look down on other people and they feel they are unequal. When this happens, our goals become unclear and misunderstood. They may result in not getting the job done. Decision-making is done by the highest authority, so there's minimal group involvement, which leads to a lot of distrust among members. This also leads to a lot of disagreements and conflicts, and if there are any, they are suppressed. So in an ineffective team, problem solving is low. Criticism is destructive, members are attacked, and the job doesn't get done. With a strong group commitment, members feel a strong sense of belonging. They enjoy being with each other. They take, advice from each other. They ask each other for advice. They seek and provide support in times of difficulty. They value each other and the contribution that each team member makes. They're motivated and want to do a good job. They share good feelings openly, and it helps us to feel like the goals of the group are important and achievable.